a trip to Disney for parents and for little kids is really a rite of passage in this country, practically.
$743. That's the number on the door of a room at Walt Disney World's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, the crown jewel of Disney's hotel empire, with its 5-story Victorian atrium, Italian marble floors, a cage elevator older than most of the kids running through the lobby, and a grand pianist drifting somewhere above it all. Now hold that image. Because that same morning, on Disney's own website, rooms at another Disney resort were advertised starting at $99 a night. That's a gap of $644. And it's not a weekend deal. It's not a loyalty perk. It is a crack in the foundation of the most profitable theme park company on the planet. And the story behind it is one Disney hasn't fully told. But the numbers have. To understand what's happening now, it helps to understand what Disney actually built and what it cost them to build it. When the Grand Floridian opened on June 28, 1988, it was the first new hotel at Walt Disney World in 17 years. 17 years! The resort had opened in 1971, and for nearly 2 decades, not a single new room was added. Then Michael Eisner came in, saw the gap, and went big. The Grand Floridian cost $135 million to construct. 867 rooms spread across 6 Victorian-themed buildings on the shores of Seven Seas Lagoon. Burt Reynolds cut the ribbon. The Beach Boys filmed their iconic Kokomo music video on the beach that very same year. It was the most extravagant hotel Disney had ever attempted, and it was just the beginning. Between 1988 and 2001, Disney built an entire hospitality empire from the ground up. Caribbean Beach Resort, Yacht and Beach Club, the Wilderness Lodge, the Boardwalk, the All-Star Resorts, Animal Kingdom Lodge. Dozens of properties, tens of thousands of rooms. Carefully tiered from value resorts at roughly $130 a night all the way up to deluxe properties at $700 and beyond. And they justified every dollar of it with something no off-property hotel could match. An ecosystem of perks so complete, so seamless, that the price felt not just worth it, it felt necessary. Disney's Magical Express picked guests up at Orlando International Airport for free. Magic bands showed up at guests' front doors before they ever packed a bag. Extra Magic Hours gave resort guests up to 3 bonus hours inside the parks before the public arrived. FastPass Plus let families book 3 ride reservations up to 60 days in advance, also free. The system created a self-enclosed universe, and for years, the demand was extraordinary. Here's where the story takes a turn. The price didn't just go up. The value underneath it was quietly dismantled. Starting in 2021, under CEO Bob Chapek, Disney began systematically removing the perks that had defined the on-property experience for decades. Magical Express ended on January 1st, 2022. Gone. Free Magic Bands became a $35 to $40 retail purchase. Extra Magic Hours shrank to a 30-minute early entry window, with evening bonus hours restricted to deluxe guests only. FastPass Plus was replaced by a paid Lightning Lane system running $15 to $30 per person per day. Room service, complimentary package delivery, free toiletries, all eliminated. Frommer's Travel documented the full list in a 2021 report that read, frankly, like a consumer indictment. So, let's do the math. Disney was charging more for the room and delivering less inside it. The 2025 rack rates at the Grand Floridian, the same resort built for $135 million in 1988, started above $700 a night for a standard room. Most dates ran between $900 and $1,000. Club-level rooms exceeded $1,200. And for the first time since the Great Recession, those rates had not increased from the prior year. Disney held them flat, then, quietly, began discounting. That's not the behavior of a company riding peak demand. That is a company recalibrating. Be honest. When you look at what was taken away, does $743 a night still make sense to you? Say it in the comments. I genuinely want to know where people stand on this. The pressure on Disney's hotels didn't come from one direction. It came from several at once. First, international travel. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, international arrivals to the United States fell 6% in 2025, even as global tourism spending rose 6.7% worldwide. Business Insider reported that international visits to the U.S. had declined for 8 consecutive months through December 2025. Canadian visitation to Florida specifically was down 20% from 2019 levels. When Disney held its February 2026 earnings call, CFO Hugh Johnston acknowledged, in his own carefully chosen words, international visitation headwinds at the domestic parks. Headwinds. From a company that usually describes everything as magical, that single word carried real weight. Second, and perhaps more consequentially, on May 22, 2025, Universal opened Epic Universe across town. This was not a typical competitor opening. Epic Universe was a $10 billion investment spanning 5 immersive lands, including Super Nintendo World, a new wizarding world anchored by the Ministry of Magic Dark Universe, and more. Wall Street analyst firm MoffettNathanson projected it could draw more than 9 million guests in 2026 alone. The same analyst projected Universal Orlando's total attendance could hit 27.6 million visitors in 2026. By contrast, Disney World's attendance was projected to remain essentially flat. For the first time in Orlando's modern history, Universal wasn't a side trip. It was becoming the primary reason people came. Disney CFO Hugh Johnston, in the company's Q2 fiscal 2026 earnings call, acknowledged that Epic-related headwinds had pressured results, and said Disney expected those headwinds to ease in the coming quarters. Disney's tone has grown more confident since the initial Epic Universe shockwave, but the impact was real, and the attendance numbers confirmed it. Now here's the part of the story most people have missed, and this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. By every metric Disney publicly reports, the business has never been stronger. Disney's Parks and Experiences division generated a record $10 billion in operating income in fiscal year 2025, an 8% increase over the prior year. Hotel occupancy at Walt Disney World held at 87%. On paper, this looks like a company at peak performance. But buried inside that same annual filing was a number that changes the entire picture. Domestic theme park attendance fell 1% year over year in fiscal 2025. That's not a rounding error. At Walt Disney World's scale, 1% represents hundreds of thousands of fewer visitors. And yet operating income still grew. How? Per-guest spending rose 5% domestically. In 2024, it had risen 3%. The trajectory is accelerating. Disney isn't growing by welcoming more families. It is growing by extracting more from each family that shows up. And the families that keep showing up? A 2024 LendingTree survey of over 2,000 consumers found that 45% of Disney visiting parents with children under 18 had gone into debt to pay for the trip, up 50% from the same survey just 2 years earlier. 83% of that debt had been incurred within the past 5 years. LendingTree's chief consumer finance analyst Matt Schultz described it plainly. For many parents, taking their kids to Disney is a rite of passage. And because of that, they're often willing to borrow to get there. Most people get this wrong. They see the record profits and assume the business is healthy in every direction. Are you one of them? This is exactly where people get divided. Which side are you on? The Four Seasons Orlando, the only luxury hotel physically inside Walt Disney World not owned by Disney, tells another chapter of this story. According to SEC filings, the resort's occupancy declined steadily from 2023, dropping to 63% by 2025, at an average nightly rate of $1,241.70. In February 2026, the property sold as part of a $1.1 billion real estate transaction. Host Hotels had originally acquired it for $610 million 5 years earlier, so the profit was real. But so was the exit. When the most sophisticated hospitality operators in the world start quietly heading for the door, it tends to mean something. So here's where everything lands. The $743 room and the $99 promotion exist at the same time, not in spite of each other, because of each other. One is the price Disney wants. The other is the price the market will actually bear. What is happening to Disney's hotel empire is not a collapse. It is something subtler, and in some ways more alarming. It's what happens when a destination that once grew by being accessible decides to grow by being exclusive, and then discovers that exclusivity has a ceiling. The parks are still extraordinary. The construction underway across all 4 theme parks is building towards something ambitious: new attractions, new lands, a vision for the next era of the resort. Families will still come. Some of them will still feel something profound when they first see the castle. That part is real, and it endures. But the version of Walt Disney World where a middle-class family could drive down from Ohio, stay on property for a full week, and come home without a payment plan, that version is fading. It may already be a memory. The lobby of the Grand Floridian is still the most beautiful hotel entrance in Central Florida. The chandeliers still catch the light exactly the way they did in 1988. But the family standing underneath them is doing math that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. And somewhere in a filing room in Burbank, someone is doing math too. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Disney has permanently priced out middle-class families? Or is this just the new reality of premium travel? Agree or disagree? There is genuinely no middle ground here.